Hi, everyone. Welcome to the District 1 Santa Cruz County Supervisor Candidate Forum. My name is Kara Meyberg Guzman. I'm the CEO of Santa Cruz Local. Santa Cruz Local is a local news podcast, newsletter, and website serving Santa Cruz County. We are supported by members. Santa Cruz Local is all about getting Santa Cruz County residents informed and engaged in local government, and that is why we are here today. This is our fifth and final candidate forum this week. We are recording this forum and we will post it on our website along with the others at santacruzlocal.org/elections. Before we get started, a quick thank you to all our partners and co-sponsors who made our candidate forum series possible. The Aptos Chamber of Commerce, the Association of Faith Communities, Capitola SoCal Chamber of Commerce, Community Bridges, County Park Friends, Live Oak Cradle to Career, Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce, Santa Cruz County Chamber of Commerce, Santa Cruz Community Health Centers, Santa Cruz County Business Council, Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History, Santa Cruz Indivisible, Santa Cruz Policy, Santa Cruz Works, and the Scotts Valley Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. This conversation, we will offer Spanish interpretation. I'm going to hand it over to our Spanish interpreter, Beatriz Trujillo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Beatriz Trujillo, and soon I will be assigned as an interpreter. At the bottom of your screen, you're gonna see a little icon with the world. Make sure that you click on that one and you pick the language that you prefer. As you probably already know, that the meeting is gonna be run in English, but now I will make the announcement for those Spanish speakers as well. Las personas que hablan español, dentro de unos segundos me van a asignar como su intérprete en español. Yo soy Beatriz Trujillo. Cuando me asignen como intérprete, al fondo, en la parte de abajo de su pantalla, van a ver un icono del mundo. Pueden dar clic ahí, pueden seleccionar español y entonces van a estar escuchando la reunión en español. También tienen la opción de poner en mudo la fuente del idioma original. De esa manera, si le dan clic ahí, no van a estar escuchando las dos voces de inglés en español, solo me escucharán a mí. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatriz. Okay, I'd like to hand it over to Santa Cruz Local Editor Stephen Baxter, who will be moderating tonight's forum.
Thank you, Kara. Let's meet the candidates. We have with us incumbent John Leopold and challenger Manu Koenig. If you live in Live Oak, Pleasure Point, Soquel, Western Capitola, or the Santa Cruz Mountains north of Soquel, you'll vote for one of these candidates. Candidates, when I call on you, just please say your name and why you're running for the Board of Supervisors. You'll have 90 seconds. Kara will keep track of time. You'll see a timer on her screen. Let's start with Manu Koenig.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Kara, for hosting this debate tonight. It's the kind of quality reporting and events that really makes me proud to be a contributing member for Santa Cruz Local. And if you're here tonight, you know that a very important election is at hand, not just for our country, but also for our county. Our county has an $870 million budget, and it touches our lives every day. But in many ways, we're failing. Housing is the fifth most expensive market in the entire world. The average pavement quality of our roads is an F. And when it comes to homelessness, the majority of unsheltered people in our community have nowhere to go but our streets, ravines, or parks. My opponent has been in office for 12 years. That's a long time. 12 years ago, Obama was elected for his first term. Netflix was still sending out DVDs and red envelopes, and only 11% of us had smartphones. My opponent will go on and on about his experience, but that experience has failed to deliver results. I was born in this county. My family lives here, and I'm running to provide better results for our community. I went to Stanford. I've worked for 4 different tech companies, and I've been a public engagement consultant in our county and with our county and cities for 10 years. My experience in public sector is rooted in understanding what you need and designing solutions. I hope you'll ask tough questions tonight and together be excited about the future of our county.
Thank you. John Leopold.
Good evening, and thanks for holding tonight's forum. You know, we're coming to you virtually because we're in the middle of a terrible crisis, the COVID-19 crisis. And it's followed by the recent CZU Lightning Complex fire. As a member of the Board of Supervisors for the last 12 years, I'm proud of the accomplishments that we've had together. Being able to build the Boys and Girls Club, Chanticleer Park, creating a vacation rental ordinance that was for the first time limited vacation rentals in our neighborhood. These are all positive contributions. But tonight, as we face these crises, we must look for experience and leadership to help us lead us through these tough times. As a member of the Board of Supervisors, understanding the situation, I wrote the county's eviction moratorium. I created the $1 million rent assistance fund, and I rewrote the county code so businesses could operate outdoors. Now with the fires, I immediately reached out to colleagues who had been through these kind of disasters so we could come up with the best system possible to help people rebuild as quickly as possible. This is not a time to take chances with a novice. I'm going to use my experience to continue helping our community, to continue to lead this community, and to build things that will work out and support everyone who lives here.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to some questions. These questions come from our readers and listeners. We'll show each question in the chat for our audience and for the candidates. The chat box is at the bottom of your screen. Just click the icon marked chat. We ask the candidates to be respectful of each other and in their responses. At the same time, we'd like you to try to differentiate yourself from your opponent. So I'll call on a candidate and you'll have 2 minutes to respond to this first question. A big portion of District 1 is in the Santa Cruz Mountains, where wildfire is a concern. What are your lessons learned from the CZU Lightning Complex fire? What more can the county do to prepare for wildfire and mudslides? 2 minutes, John Leopold.
Thank you, Stephen. This is not something that I started thinking about just this past August. This is something that I've been working on for a number of years. After the Sonoma fires, I met with Summit area residents to figure out what it is we could do. First, we needed to make sure they had the best equipment, and I made sure that they had a new engine for the volunteer fire company. I came to the pancake breakfasts to support their fundraising for the water tender. And I continued to think about ways in which we could be helpful. So working with members of the community, we were able to pass a measure this January to add staffing to county fire. Then we began working about what we could do to make it as safe as possible. So I got money to the first funding to support our fire safe councils, first the various fire safe councils, and now the Santa Cruz County Fire Safe Council. I got extra money to support our cameras that are up at Loma Prieta to be able to see fires early. I worked with community members like the Santa Cruz Mountain Alliance to create a program for the first shaded fuel break program up at Loma Prieta School, which makes that school safer and makes it a place that could be a refuge in the event of a fire. We are currently working with CAL FIRE, Santa Cruz Fire Safe Council, on a shaded fuel break project that will be 5 miles on Summit Road. Tuesday that the fire started, we voted to underground utilities, not at the ocean where it had always been, but in the mountains so they can not be an ignition source, improve the reliability of service, and help protect evacuation routes. At the beginning of August, I had Ricardo Lara on my constituent meeting, our state insurance commissioner, to talk about how to deal with the fire insurance losses where people are getting canceled for their fire insurance. There's a lot more we're going to be able to do, but this is a start at what I've been able to work on.
Time, thank you. The question again, what are your lessons learned from the CZU Lightning Complex fire? What more can the county do to prepare for wildfire and mudslides? Manu Koenig.
Thank you, Stephen. Well, one of the lessons we certainly learned is that we need more cameras. During the CZU complex fire, we only had one camera in the county, and it was pointed away from where the fire started. You know, these fires were very scary for a lot of people throughout our county. You know, over a third of the county I had to evacuate, and many people in the first district, which includes the Summit area and the old San Jose Road area, were all terrified that this fire would come their direction. I personally had to evacuate from wildfire before in the Corralitos area during the Summit fire in 2008. And so I'm very concerned about how we can make sure our county is better prepared for these events in the future. Our civil grand jury report, the one that came out in July of this year, just a month before the fire, found that in general, our county is unprepared and uninformed about some of the risks that we have in our community. So what I would do differently, I would make sure that we actually have a vegetation management plan that identifies where the greatest risks are in our community and the needs to address those risks. I would make sure that the county is maintaining fuel breaks on its right-of-ways on all county roads. And fundamentally, we need more volunteer firefighters and more work crews in order to address that need. In the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, we saw that our county acknowledged that need, but didn't come up with any new solutions. I think that we need to look at better volunteer firefighter training programs, greater incentives for people to be a part of that force. We also need to look at people, we know that the inmate fire crews are essential in fighting fire. We need to look at modeling programs like that here that take people who are down on their luck and put them to work helping us prepare for fire in our community.
Thank you. Okay, question 2. Many residents told us they want more job options. What's your plan to diversify the county's job market? What will you do in the next year to realize that plan? You'll have 2 minutes again. Manu Koenig.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, we have a net negative of jobs in the first district. About 5,000 people have to commute outside of the district every day. And so we definitely need more high-paying jobs right here. I think that the Sustainable Santa Cruz Plan lays a great framework for that, which is create more community centers. If you talk to anyone in high tech or some of the startups that are being created right here in our county, we need more office space and more workspace for these people to move forward with their ventures. So as we look to transform these existing sites into more of community centers with mixed use opportunities, both work and living, will create more opportunities for good paying companies to grow right here in Santa Cruz. Of course, the other thing that we can do is expand high-speed internet throughout our community. The county has a dig once policy that's been in place since 2014, and we should use that to lay conduit for high-speed internet, dark fiber, both up and down the SoCal corridor, where it can go by the medical center, and also the SoCal Research Park near 41st in SoCal, which is a huge opportunity site for more businesses to grow here in our community, and also down the rail corridor. Maybe we should shift our thinking a little bit about infrastructure needs. It's not just about moving people, it's also about moving ideas and data. And if you think about the rail corridor, some of the biggest opportunity sites in our community, like 17th and Bromer there, the old Ledyard distribution facility, are another great opportunity to host more great companies right here in Santa Cruz. And of course, one of the incubators that already exists on the west side, the startup Sandbox, which is hosting a lot of biotech companies. It's also near the rail corridor, and it would be great both for better transportation and internet.
Great, thank you. The question again, what's your plan to diversify the county's job market? What will you do in the next year to realize that plan? John Leopold.
Well, there's a couple of things that I would say. You want to match the jobs with the education opportunities that are here in Santa Cruz County. When I was at Cabrillo, we doubled the number of spaces for nurses. And right now we are going to be looking at a proposal for a major new Kaiser facility in the first district. That means that people who go to Cabrillo can graduate into jobs that pay $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Healthcare is one of our key sectors, and growing that in the first district will provide a lot of jobs, and there will be good paying jobs that for kids and other people who live here and can get trained here. Second, we've already drawn high-speed fiber, dark fiber down SoCal Drive as part of the Central Coast Broadband Consortium. We are now working to figure out ways that we can pull off of that, bring it down 41st Avenue so it gets all the way down to Pleasure Point. I led an effort to have the community weigh in about design standards about the Pleasure Point commercial corridor, so we could have different kinds of development, office spaces, retail, restaurant, and new jobs that would be located right in a beautiful spot, only a couple blocks away from the ocean. We have, in the last couple of years, we have created a new industry in Santa Cruz County, in the cannabis industry, that an environmental impact report said could produce 6,000 to 7,000 jobs here in Santa Cruz County, all paying above minimum wage or higher. They create a tax revenue for us, and that's an area that we could work on. And looking about what high-tech firms might want to be here, either in Pleasure Point, East Cliff Village Shopping Center when that gets redeveloped, or along the SoCal Drive corridor, will be key to the economic future for our community.
Great, thank you. We're going to move on to our lightning round. We're going to ask some yes or no questions. Please raise your hand if the statement applies to you. I'll name the candidates who raise their hands. Question 1 of our lightning round. Candidates talk a lot about public transit. Raise your hand if you've taken the bus in the past year. John Leopold. Question 2. Santa Clara County recently legalized tiny homes on wheels as permanent in-law units. They had been classified as RVs and non-permanent housing. Raise your hand if you support that same legalization of permanent tiny homes in Santa Cruz County. 2 hands, John Leopold, Manu Koenig, thank you. Number 3, raise your hand if you would support any reduction in the number of parking spots required to be built with new housing. John Leopold and Manu Koenig. Question 4, last one. Raise your hand if you support the county creating a new navigation center for the homeless. Both John Leopold and Manu Koenig. Great, that concludes our lightning round. Moving on to question 3. Many residents that we interviewed in District 1 said they want more affordable housing built in the district. What are your plans to build and fund more affordable housing? Specifically, how do your plans differ from your opponent? 2 minutes, John Leopold.
Well, there's a couple of things that we're already engaged in the first district. As you know, we've dedicated land for affordable housing on Capitola Road, where we approved just under a year ago a new 57-unit affordable housing project with a new health center and new dental center. We dedicated 2 spots for Habitat for Humanity for a total of 18 units. We passed a density bonus ordinance, and we actually built the first project on Portola, at the Portola Plaza, a project that'll probably be under construction next year. We're going to be looking at the 7th and Bromer site, probably starting in January, a spot which was going to be a hotel and housing, but now because of the changes in COVID, will probably be mostly housing with a small amount of retail there as well. One of the things that I've developed is good working relationships with many in the affordable housing community, and we were smart enough when redevelopment closed to put our money aside, and so the state couldn't take it. That meant $45 million for affordable housing, which we're still drawing on. It helped us build the St. Stephen's senior housing. It's helping with the Capitola Road project and a number of other projects in Santa Cruz County. We need to leverage the money that we're getting from the state to be able to build more affordable housing, but we need to create the space to make that happen. I'm glad that we've done that in the first district. And I'm proud to have the support of leaders in Affordable Housing Now, COPA, and Santa Cruz YIMBY, because they see that the vision that I have of connecting transit to housing development will actually make sense. And it's yielded great results so far, and I'm sure that we will have more in the future.
Thank you. The question again, what are your plans to build and fund more affordable housing? Specifically, how do your plans differ from your opponent, Manu Koenig?
I'll tell you the first thing I'm going to do to create more affordable housing in our community, and that is fix the planning department. Because by streamlining the planning department, we can allow everyone to participate in investing in our community and creating more of the housing we need. I think this is really something that differentiates me from my opponent, because he's presided over one of the most dysfunctional planning departments in the state for the last 12 years. And I've never heard him say anything about fixing it. But on the campaign trail, I hear over and over again about how difficult it is to work with our planning department. People who spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to improve their homes and eventually just give up and move into one of the cities because they're tired of dealing with county planning. We're supposed to be streamlining ADUs right now, but it can take, I have a friend who's an architect it's taken a year and a half. She still doesn't have a permit for an ADU. And that's partially also because it's so difficult to permit septic in our county right now, because the county failed to get their local area management plan certified by the state in time. Of course, this relates to rebuilding after the fire as well. And we heard recently from a lot of people up Last Chance and other communities affected by the fire, that the requirements still feel too onerous, and the county's not working with them to consider the kind of lifestyle that they would like. We're not considering new improvements like composting toilets or off-grid solutions. So, and let's also set the record straight. My opponent talks about the units of housing that we're building on Capitola Road. He was talking about those 4 years ago during the last election, 57 units. That's a drop in the bucket. He talks about Portola Plaza, but he voted against the density bonus that allowed that project to have 33 units. We really need the Sustainable Santa Cruz plan to go into place. We both support reducing parking requirements for that. But again, he voted against the recommendation of the Sustainable Santa Cruz plan in approving a Nissan dealership on 41st and SoCal.
Thank you. Just a reminder, at the end, we're going to have concluding statements. So if you guys want to rebut each other and talk, that would be the time to do it. We have 2 more questions before that. Question 4. Spanish-speaking parents that we talked to in Live Oak told us they want more opportunities for their children. Many of these parents have lost jobs during the pandemic. They now rely on the food bank. They told us they need better internet access and more communication from the county in Spanish. Name one thing you will do to help these families in the coming year. Manu Koenig.
Yeah, we shouldn't have 50% of our community, with insufficient internet access to get online and go to school. And I hear about kids who are being marked truant because they just cannot access the internet. So you asked about one thing that I would do to improve relations with Spanish-speaking residents. I'm absolutely committed to hiring staff that are fluent in Spanish so that we can provide all communication from the supervisor's office in Spanish, and that someone is available to take questions and meet constituents' needs who only speak Spanish. I also was a board member of Digital Nest, where we work to expand tech sector opportunities to underserved youth in Watsonville. I personally help youth become web designers and take on clients and help them with that process. I would love to see expansion of more programs like that right here in the middle of our county in Live Oak. And of course, we need to make sure that we need to solve this issue about kids not being connected to the internet, whether it's giving away more hotspot devices quickly to fill that short-term gap. And then, as I suggested as well, really making sure that we take dark fiber down to South County along the rail corridor. Other things that we can do as we work to improve the planning department, that'll create a lot of jobs for people in the Latino community as well. I spoke to a man on Paul Mini Avenue just the other day who works in construction and hasn't been able to do much work because many of the projects are stuck in the permitting process. So I think it's a combination of things to get our economy going, certainly providing services to Spanish-speaking residents in Spanish from the supervisor's office, and absolutely making sure that no one is left behind as our economy changes.
Thank you. John Leopold.
Thanks for this question. I think it's very important, and it's something that I've been working on. I've always had bilingual staff in my office to be able to communicate with all the residents in the district. When I created the Cradle to Career program 7 years ago, one of the things that we saw in the Live Oak School District, that there were so many families who had monolingual Spanish-speaking parents. And we created a program that gave parents control over the resources to be able to help their children and their families, because we know that a strong family is the best solution for so many issues in our community. One of the things that has made that program a success, an award-winning program, is we do simultaneous translation whenever we meet. And that means that everybody's on an even playing field in being able to communicate and interact with the information that we have. And that has proven to be so successful that I've changed the way that we do that at the County Board of Supervisors when people come, so we have simultaneous translation. One of the things we've seen in COVID is we need to not only expand access to the internet, but we need to make sure that we're providing digital literacy. And the Cradle to Career program had developed those relationships with parents to be able to do one-on-one help. So when the Chromebook that they got from the Live Oak School District, they were able to help the parents and the kids learn how to use that tool. It's incredibly important. We've also used Cradle to Career to build out a Passion for Produce program. So there's food for everybody who needs it in the school district. And each year we brought the Mexican consulate to Live Oak so people could get paperwork necessary for them to be able to work here. We're working on creating more jobs in the restaurant, retail, healthcare fields. That means that it will be available for so many people in Santa Cruz County, and especially Live Oak residents.
Thank you. All right, question 5. It's on homelessness. What is your plan to transition the hundreds of people now living in shelters to permanent housing, and how could it be funded? 2 minutes again. John Leopold.
Well, there's a lot that the county has learned over this past year as we set up 11 shelters for 600 people. And we are already working on plans to transition those people into more stable housing than just putting them in tents or sending them back out on the street. You know, one of the things that the grand jury report recently on homeless identified was that the siting of facilities make it really hard to make these things happen. We got a real-time test of that during the early part of the COVID crisis when we needed to house so many people. The Seventh-day Adventists offered their site to help us out during a moment of crisis, and I moved quickly to create a plan that was approved by the sheriff and the fire department, and then work with the community about what was happening there. We were able to house those 20 or so transitioned age youth, the most vulnerable part of our homeless population. And then because of that work there, they were able to host another 300 people when the fires happened. We have to use the funds from the state to do things like purchase hotels. It's been challenging. We have homeless in hotels, but it's been hard to find a hotel who wants to sell. We just recently created the permanent room housing so we could turn these old motels, which have really become single room occupancy locations, into a legal structure so they can be updated and maintained. We need to designate funding from the Measure G, which we have, to fund things like a navigation center and new homeless programs. We've shown in the shelters that we've set up in the last year that we can actually move people to housing. Already 25% of those transition age youth who are staying in SoCal have moved into permanent housing. We can do more and we will do better.
Great. Question again, what's your plan to transition people now living in shelters into permanent housing, and how could it be funded? Manu Koenig.
Over and over again, I hear that homelessness is the most important issue for constituents. And it affects our lives in so many ways. You know, whether it's the pain of walking by someone who's unsheltered on the street at the bus stop and not feeling like you have anything that you can do to help them out, or whether it's you know, watching someone that you love as dealing with increasing mental illness or addiction and feeling like county mental health services are failing them. One of the big frustrations I've had with the way our county has approached homeless services today is that we're not using that money we get from the state to build permanent housing, as you said. I mean, just last year, Stephen, we got $10.5 million from the state without strings attached. We could have spent it for any programs. And in fact, the Housing Matters, formerly Homeless Services Center, recommended spending half of that money on building a navigation center with permanent supportive housing. That's what Marin did with their money, with the majority of their funds. But what did we do? We ignored that recommendation. How many homes did we build? 0. I would have invested that money in tiny homes and pallet shelters and put them on county property, starting with places like the Emmeline complex so that people are close to health services, putting them, also looking at places like the Watsonville Health Clinic, which also provides mental health services. There's 4.5 acres available there. We need to look at and constantly investing in a core capacity of housing people. Then we can look at better mental health outreach services to get people into those kind of facilities. And we need to expand work programs, because once people are housed, they need productive work to feel good about themselves. That's why the Downtown Streets team works. That's why the Homeless Garden Project works. I'm going to make sure our community looks at unsheltered people as allies and a resource.
Thank you. Okay, great. We're on to closing statements. Please tell voters why they should cast their vote for you and anything else you want voters to know. We'll start with Manu Koenig.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you all for coming tonight. You know, after 12 years, my opponent's very good at talking about everything the county has ever done or ever talked about doing. But the reality is that the results speak for themselves. And, you know, looking at things like the grand jury results, which were the reports, which were the result of a years-long study by citizens who really looked hard at issues like fire safety, like homelessness, and made these recommendations. And then seeing some of the response to those recommendations that our county has today, you know, it's sort of like, yeah, those are good ideas, but too complicated, not going to do them. That's really, really frustrating. And especially as someone who's worked in public engagement for a decade now, and who knows that a lot of good ideas are actually present in the public sphere, among the public, and we just need to access that better and put it into effect. That's how I would approach dealing with issues like the rail corridor. I've taken a strong advocacy stance on that before, but my solution is to put the use of that corridor to your vote. So I also bring a mindset of build, measure, learn that has been successful in lots of tech companies, and we need to apply it to the public sector to create value for all of us. That means not long, grandiose plans, but short-term solutions built on what you need, where we improve them consistently. I'd be honored by your vote.
Great. Closing statement, John Leopold.
Thank you for holding tonight's forum. You've just heard right now about the need for get results, and look at the 12 years of results we've had. We have a Boys and Girls Club where 200 kids use that facility every day. We have a Chanticleer Park, the first all-inclusive park in Santa Cruz County where kids of any ability can play together. I led the effort to purchase the 32-mile rail corridor after 20 years of inaction. I led the funding measure D, to invest in our local streets and roads. I wrote the vacation rental policy to limit the impact in our neighborhoods. But this election isn't about the past. This election is about the future. And we have key issues that we need to be focused on. The COVID response is going to be critical. It's not going away quickly. We need someone with public health experience who can continue to lead and keep our numbers lower than surrounding counties. We need to keep on fighting climate change. The wildfire that we experience is one example. We've talked about fire prevention, but we also have to worry about sea level rise. And I'm leading an effort, and I'm going to be at the Coastal Commission tomorrow talking about our sea level rise policy. We need to work to cut our water rates in Live Oak because we pay almost 15% more than the city of Santa Cruz, and I'm leading the fight on that. And lastly, we have to battle entrenched racism. I did a resolution on racism as a public health crisis, but now I'm working with a group of BIPOC leaders so we can have a platform to have ongoing policy recommendations about issues about race, economic and social justice in our community.
Thank you both. Thank you very much. This is really informative and really substantive, and I appreciate it. I'm going to hand it over to Kara to wrap up.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to both the candidates for attending tonight. We are honored to have hosted you. Thank you to all the attendees for spending your evening with us. Thank you also to our Santa Cruz local members. You made this happen tonight. All of Santa Cruz Local's stories, podcasts, newsletter, events are free, and we're supported by our members. Our members contribute $9 a month or $99 a year to support local news. Find out more at santacruzlocal.org/membership. You can also sign up for our free newsletter. We are in your inbox 2 to 3 times a week. We let you know what's coming up in local government, and we also give you the county's deepest reporting on the county's biggest issues and solutions, how other communities address those same issues. We are going to post the recording of tonight's forum on our nonpartisan elections guide. That's at santacruzlocal.org/elections. You can find so much more about this race on that website. We produced a podcast about this race. We have a written questionnaire posted. We also have a searchable database on who funded each of these campaigns. Yeah, I really encourage you to check that out. Also on our elections guide, you'll find out how to register to vote, how to check your registration, how to change your mailing address, how to get a Spanish ballot, and how to vote in person, and so many more questions, frequently asked questions about how to vote in Santa Cruz County. Thank you all for coming, and good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.